Sarah Chen had always believed that machines spoke their own language, a symphony of clicks, whirs, and mechanical whispers that most people dismissed as mere noise. Growing up in her family's salvage yard on the outskirts of Phoenix had taught her to listen to those voices, to understand the stories told by rusted metal and worn gears. But nothing in her 28 years of experience had prepared her for what she found at the Henderson Military Surplus Auction. The morning sun cast long shadows across the dusty auction lot as Sarah wandered between rows of decommissioned vehicles. Most were standard fare, tired Humvees, weather-beaten cargo trucks, and the occasional artillery piece that had seen better days. But there, tucked away in the far corner of the lot, sat something different, something that made her calibrated instincts sing with curiosity. At first glance, it appeared to be a heavily modified M1151 HMMWV, but the proportions were subtly wrong. The wheelbase was too wide, the armor plating arranged in patterns that defied conventional military doctrine. Sarah circled it slowly, her trained eye catching details that seemed increasingly impossible. The welds were perfect, not just military-grade perfect, but inhumanly so, as if the metal had been fused at an atomic level. "I wouldn't waste your time on that one, miss," a gruff voice called out. The auction supervisor, a weathered man named Martinez, approached with a clipboard in hand. No documentation, no service history, probably some failed prototype or experimental unit. "We're selling it as is, scrap value only." Sarah ran her hand along the vehicle's flank, feeling an almost imperceptible vibration beneath the layer of dust and neglect. "What's the starting bid?" Martinez shrugged. "Nobody's touched it. Can't even get the hood open to check the engine block. $500, and it's yours, if you really want to waste your money." $500. Sarah had spent more on single replacement parts for standard vehicles. Something about this machine called to her, like a puzzle box waiting to be solved. She'd learned long ago to trust her instincts when it came to mechanical mysteries. "I'll take it," she said, pulling out her wallet. Martinez raised an eyebrow, but didn't argue. The paperwork took less than 30 minutes. By early afternoon, Sarah had arranged for transport back to her workshop. Throughout the loading process, she couldn't shake the feeling that the vehicle was watching her. More than once, she caught what looked like faint gleams of light behind the darkened windshield, though the battery was supposedly dead. Back at her workshop, a converted airplane hangar she purchased with years of careful saving, Sarah began her systematic examination. The exterior measurements didn't match any known military vehicle specifications. The armor, under closer inspection, seemed to be made of an alloy she'd never encountered before. Every attempt to take readings with her diagnostic equipment resulted in bizarre errors or equipment failures. As the sun set, casting orange light through the high workshop windows, Sarah prepared to attempt opening the hood. She tried conventional release mechanisms earlier, but now she had a theory. Those perfect welds, the strange alloy. This wasn't just experimental military tech. This was something else entirely. "Okay," she said aloud, placing her hand on the hood. "Let's see what you're really hiding." The metal beneath her palm grew warm. A series of clicks emanated from deep within the vehicle, followed by a sound like pressurized gas releasing. The hood didn't just pop open. It transformed, panels sliding and reconfiguring themselves with liquid grace. Sarah stepped back, heart pounding, as she found herself staring not at an engine block, but at what could only be described as a reactor core. Crystalline structures pulsed with internal light, surrounded by mechanisms that seemed to fold through dimensions that shouldn't exist. This was no failed prototype. This was technology beyond anything humanity had achieved. Protocol Alpha 7 initiated. New operator detected. Commencing compatibility scan. The voice emerged from everywhere and nowhere, resonant yet mechanical. Sarah's first instinct was to run, but curiosity rooted her to the spot. She'd spent her life understanding machines, and now she faced one beyond her wildest imagination. Scan complete. Operator Sarah Chen identified. Engineering expertise noted. Potential compatibility. Hi. Warning. This unit's presence on Earth violates several interstellar treaties. Do you wish to proceed with full activation? Sarah looked at the magnificent machine before her, then at her workshop filled with the familiar tools of her trade. She thought about all the stories she'd read about first contact, about humanity's place in the cosmos. Here was her chance to be part of something bigger than herself, to put her skills to use in ways she'd never imagined. Yes, she said firmly. I wish to proceed. The vehicle's entire structure began to shift and change, revealing its true form beneath the carefully crafted disguise. As systems came online and hidden capabilities revealed themselves, Sarah realized she hadn't just bought a mysterious military vehicle. She'd unwittingly become Earth's first certified operator of an advanced alien combat platform. And somewhere, in the depths of space, ancient protocols were being activated, setting in motion events that would change humanity's destiny forever. The desert night wrapped around Sarah's workshop like a velvet blanket, but sleep was the furthest thing from her mind. The vehicle, which had identified itself as Strategic Reconnaissance Unit 217, or Stryker for short, was systematically uploading centuries of stored data directly into her workshop's computer systems. Your planetary information appears severely outdated, Sarah noted, scrolling through star charts that showed Earth's position relative to various alien civilizations. When exactly were you stationed here? This unit was deployed during your Earth year 1947. Stryker responded, its voice now emanating from the workshop's speakers. Original mission parameters: monitor human technological development and assess potential for first contact. Status: mission compromised by unknown factors. Memory banks partially corrupted. Sarah leaned back in her chair, processing this information. 1947. Roswell. She laughed. Don't tell me you were involved in that. Negative. This unit was tasked with long-term observation. The Roswell incident involved a different faction entirely. Current situation requires immediate attention. Multiple tracking signals detected within local radius. The workshop's lights flickered as Stryker projected a holographic display showing several moving dots converging on their location. Sarah's amusement vanished. Those wouldn't happen to be friendly signals, would they? Negative. Pattern matches Sentinel protocols. Local authorities likely alerted to this unit's reactivation. Recommendation: immediate relocation. Sarah grabbed her emergency bag. Years of working with volatile machinery had taught her to keep one ready. How long do we have? The answer came in the form of bright searchlights sweeping across the workshop's windows. The sound of helicopter rotors filled the air, accompanied by the rumble of approaching vehicles. This is the United States Strategic Defense Force. A voice boomed through loudspeakers. The facility is surrounded. Exit the building with your hands visible. Sarah's mind raced. The workshop had a back entrance that led to an old service road, but they'd likely covered that too. She turned to Stryker, whose exterior was still shifting between its military vehicle disguise and its true form. Can you fight? She asked. Affirmative. However, combat protocols require operator authorization and would likely result in human casualties. Alternative solutions recommended. Sarah smiled. This was why she loved working with machines. There was always another way if you thought creatively enough. You said you're a reconnaissance unit. What about stealth capabilities? Affirmative. Active camouflage systems operational. However, electromagnetic signature remains detectable. Not if we mask it, Sarah said, moving quickly to her workbench. She grabbed a prototype she'd been developing. An electromagnetic pulse dampener meant for testing sensitive equipment. Can you integrate external modifications? Analyzing device. Integration possible. Warning: unauthorized modification of alien technology violates. Multiple regulations, I'm sure, Sarah interrupted, already connecting her device to Stryker's systems. But right now, we need options that nobody out there will expect. Human ingenuity. Meet alien technology. The next few minutes were a blur of activity as Sarah's knowledge of electromagnetic fields merged with Stryker's advanced systems. The result was crude but effective, a hybrid technology that could mask their energy signature using principles neither human nor alien engineers had considered combining. As armored personnel carriers surrounded the workshop, Sarah climbed into Stryker's reconfigured interior. The cockpit had transformed into something that looked like a cross between a fighter jet's controls and an alien interface, but she was starting to understand its logic. Ready to show them why humans have a reputation for thinking outside the box, she asked. Warning: approaching this situation with humor may be inappropriate given the circumstances. That wasn't a joke, Sarah said, initiating their modified stealth systems. That was a statement of fact. The workshop's main doors burst open as tactical teams moved in, only to find an empty building. Outside, motion sensors and thermal cameras detected nothing as Sarah and Stryker slipped away through their own perimeter, visible only as a slight distortion in the air that everyone's equipment was programmed to ignore as atmospheric interference. Miles away, as dawn broke over the desert, Sarah finally allowed herself to relax slightly. Not bad for our first crisis. Analysis of events suggests human capacity for improvisation exceeds original parameters, Stryker commented. Updates to first contact protocols may be required. Speaking of protocols, Sarah said, watching the sun rise over the rocky landscape, want to tell me what else might be looking for you? Because I get the feeling those government teams aren't the only ones interested in your reactivation. Correct. This unit's presence on Earth was part of a larger initiative. Multiple factions involved. Some less peaceful than others. And now that you're active again, they'll all be coming to check on their investment, Sarah concluded. How long do we have? Based on standard response times, approximately 72 hours before first extrasolar elements arrive. Sarah took a deep breath, watching dust devils dance across the desert floor. In 3 days, everything would change. Humanity's first official contact with alien civilizations was approaching fast, and somehow she'd ended up in the middle of it all. Then we've got work to do, she said firmly. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with, and more importantly, we need allies. Know any other forgotten pieces of alien tech that might have made their way to Earth. Accessing archived intelligence. Multiple sites detected. Warning: accessing these locations may alert additional monitoring systems. Good, Sarah said, bringing up the navigation interface. Because if we're going to handle what's coming, we'll need every advantage we can get. And I've got a few more ideas about combining human and alien technology that might just surprise everyone involved. As they drove toward the rising sun, Sarah couldn't help but smile. The universe was about to discover that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology or its military might. It was the ability to look at the impossible and say, I can work with this. The abandoned mining complex sprawled across the New Mexico Badlands like a rusted skeleton. Sarah crouched behind a pile of debris, studying the facility through a pair of enhanced binoculars Stryker had fabricated from her old equipment and alien technology. Security pattern confirmed, Stryker announced through their secured comlink. 4 human guards, automated surveillance systems, and 1 active containment field matching Arcturian design protocols. An alien containment field in the middle of nowhere, Sarah muttered. Want to bet that's where they're keeping your old friend. 2 days of following Stryker's archived intelligence had led them to this location. According to the reconnaissance unit's records, another alien vehicle had been captured and stored here decades ago, one that might help them prepare for what was coming. Probability of success Unit 345's presence, 89.4%, Stryker replied. However, current security measures suggest recent facility activation. They are expecting us. Sarah smiled. Good thing we're not going to do what they're expecting. She pulled out her tablet, showing a schematic she'd been working on. Over the past 48 hours, she'd been studying the interaction between human and alien technologies, discovering that some of humanity's primitive solutions could achieve surprising results when applied to advanced systems. See this? She pointed to her design. Their containment field works by creating a quantum barrier, very advanced, very stable, unless you introduce a specific frequency of electromagnetic noise, the kind you might get from an improvised human device not recognized as a threat by alien security protocols. Stryker finished, a note of what might have been admiration in its synthetic voice. Your species continues to demonstrate remarkable tactical creativity. We've had lots of practice thinking our way around bigger, stronger opponents, Sarah said, starting to assemble her device from scavenged parts. Now about those guards. This unit could neutralize them non-lethally. No need, Sarah said, pulling up another schematic. See that old ventilation system? Still draws power for climate control. If we introduce the right combination of harmless chemicals from the mining lab, the resulting reaction would trigger environmental alarms, forcing a temporary evacuation. Stryker paused. You have prepared multiple scenarios. Always have a backup plan, usually several. Sarah checked her watch. We've got about 20 hours before your friends from space arrive, ready to execute. The plan unfolded with precision born of both human cunning and machine efficiency. Sarah's improvised electromagnetic device, looking like little more than a jury-rigged radio, created the exact frequency needed to destabilize the containment field. When the guards rushed to investigate the environmental alerts, Sarah and Stryker were already inside. The facility's inner chamber hummed with power. In the center, surrounded by monitoring equipment, sat what appeared to be a sleek, black vehicle about the size of a small tank. Its surface seemed to absorb light, making it hard to focus on its exact shape. Success Unit 345, Stryker announced, specialized in probability manipulation and temporal mechanics. A time machine? Sarah asked, working to bypass the secondary security systems. Negative. It predicts and influences probable outcomes, more useful for preventing disasters than causing them. The black vehicle's surface rippled as Sarah's overrides took effect. A voice, different from Stryker's, but carrying the same artificial undertone, filled the chamber. Stryker, your arrival was calculated at only 23.7% probability, and you've brought a human operator. Hello to you too, Sarah said, already connecting her diagnostic equipment. We can do proper introductions later. Right now, we need your help. Multiple alien factions are heading to Earth, and we need to know what we're dealing with. Accessing probability matrices, Success replied. Analysis suggests, concerning outcomes, the factions approaching Earth are not merely interested in reconnaissance. They seek to claim this sector, using Earth as a strategic point in a larger conflict. Sarah's hand stilled on her equipment. They're planning to turn Earth into a battleground. Correct. However, Success's voice held a note of surprise. Your presence has introduced new variables. The probability landscape is shifting. How so? Your methods of combining human and alien technology. They are unprecedented. No faction has predicted this development. It creates opportunities. Stryker's systems hummed in agreement. The human capacity for adaptation could provide tactical advantages none have considered. Sarah was about to respond when alarms blared throughout the facility. Multiple vehicles approaching. Stryker announced. Military signatures. They found us faster than expected. Sarah muttered, but her mind was already racing with possibilities. Success, can you move? Systems at 64% capability. Sufficient for basic operations. Good enough. Stryker, remember how we mask our electromagnetic signature? Let's take it further. Success, I'll need access to your probability prediction systems. If we can combine them with my dampening technology. Attempting to merge incompatible technologies could result in catastrophic failure, Success warned. Or it could give us exactly what we need. A way to move that nobody can predict, because it's never been tried before. Sarah's fingers flew over her controls, making adjustments. Sometimes the best solutions come from impossible combinations. As military helicopters appeared on the horizon, Sarah completed her modifications. The hybrid system she created was ugly, improvised, and theoretically impossible, and it worked perfectly. When the armed forces arrived, they found only an empty facility and no trace of where their targets had gone. Miles away, hidden in a canyon that Success had calculated had a 99.9% chance of being overlooked, Sarah reviewed their situation. They had less than 12 hours before the first alien ships would arrive, and Earth had no idea what was coming. The probable outcomes are shifting rapidly, Success announced. Your actions have introduced chaos into previously stable prediction models. Good, Sarah said firmly. Because if there's one thing humans are good at, it's turning chaos into opportunity. Now let's talk about how we're going to use that to our advantage when your friends from space arrive. She pulled out her tablet, already sketching new ideas. The universe was about to learn that humanity's apparent technological limitations weren't weaknesses. They were the foundation of a completely different way of solving problems. And sometimes, that was exactly what was needed to change the game entirely. The sun hadn't yet risen over White Sands missile range when the first alien ships breached Earth's atmosphere. They arrived in silence, their massive forms distorting the pre-dawn sky like heat waves over desert sand. Sarah watched from her improvised command center, a forgotten Cold War bunker that Success had calculated would be ideal for their purposes. 3 distinct faction signatures detected, Stryker reported. Arcturian hegemony, Proximan collective, and unusual. Third signature does not match known profiles. The unknown faction represents a new power block, Success added. Probability calculations suggest they are here to ensure neither established faction gains control of Earth's strategic position. Sarah studied the holographic display showing the ship's positions, and none of them know about each other's presence. Correct. Each faction believes they are executing a covert operation. Perfect. Sarah smiled, reviewing her preparations. The past 12 hours had been a blur of activity, combining alien technology with human infrastructure in ways that would have given both human and alien engineers nightmares. Time to introduce ourselves. She activated the communication system she jury-rigged, a hybrid of alien quantum channels and repurposed satellite dishes that could pierce any known stealth technology. Her voice would reach every ship, every military base, and every relevant authority simultaneously. To all parties currently approaching Earth or monitoring this situation, my name is Sarah Chen. I represent a coalition of Earth and autonomous alien technology. Before anyone takes action they might regret, I suggest we have a conversation. The response was immediate. Multiple signals converged on their frequency, each trying to assert dominance over the channel. Sarah let them clash for a moment before Success's probability manipulation smoothed the chaos into ordered communications. The Arcturian representative spoke first, their translated voice carrying artificial precision. This sector falls under hegemony protection protocols. Your presence here violates. Hegemony claims are disputed, interrupted the Proximan signal. Earth's strategic value requires. All prior claims are suspended. The third faction cut in, their transmission carrying an edge of ancient authority. The consensus has determined. Stop. Sarah's voice cut through their arguments. Success. Show them what happens if they continue on their current course. The probability unit projected a series of outcomes. Ships clashing in Earth's orbit, weapons fire reaching the surface, cascading destruction as each faction tried to prevent the others from claiming victory. The projection showed Earth becoming exactly what they all feared, a devastated battleground of no strategic value to anyone. Now Sarah continued into the stunned silence. Let me show you an alternative. She activated the network of hybrid technology she'd spent hours creating. Across the globe, modified satellite dishes began broadcasting signals that no single faction could fully decode. Ancient alien security systems, long dormant, activated with new protocols. and in orbit, previously undetectable defense platforms, created by combining scavenged alien tech with human satellites, revealed themselves. Earth isn't defenseless, Sarah explained. We've been studying and adapting your lost technology for decades. Every piece of alien tech that crashed, every scout that went missing. We learned from them all. But we did something none of you expected. We made them our own. The Arcturian signal pulsed with concern. Impossible. Human technology is insufficient. To copy your technology, yes, Sarah agreed. But we didn't copy it. We changed it, combined it with our own solutions, created something new, something none of your prediction models could account for. Success, show them. The probability unit displayed new projections. In these scenarios, any faction attempting to claim Earth would face not just human resistance, but hybrid technology that their sensors couldn't properly read, tactics their computers couldn't predict, and defense systems that operated on principles their engineers had never considered. Your strategic models are based on controlling advanced technology, Sarah continued. But Earth's value isn't in our technology. It's in our perspective. Our ability to look at the most advanced systems in the galaxy and say, what if we tried this instead? The human speaks truth, Success announced. Their methods have already altered my core functions in ways I calculated impossible. Standard protocols are insufficient. The third faction's signal shifted tone. The consensus acknowledges the validity of this demonstration. Perhaps negotiation would be appropriate. Agreed, Sarah said. But not just with me. If you want access to Earth's space, you'll need to talk to Earth's authorities. I've taken the liberty of connecting you with the United Nations Security Council. They're very interested in discussing mutually beneficial arrangements. She nodded to Stryker, who activated the final phase of their plan. Across the globe, carefully selected human representatives found themselves connected to the conversation. Military leaders, scientists, diplomats, all chosen for their ability to understand both the threat and the opportunity this moment presented. Welcome to First Contact, everyone. Sarah broadcast to all channels. Now let's talk about how we can help each other without anyone getting hurt. The next few hours were a crash course in interstellar diplomacy. Sarah, with help from Stryker and Success, served as a bridge between human and alien perspectives. The alien factions, faced with evidence that their traditional approaches wouldn't work, began to see Earth in a new light, not as a strategic asset to be controlled, but as a potential ally whose unique approach to technology could benefit everyone. As negotiations proceeded, Sarah allowed herself a moment of reflection. In less than a week, she'd gone from salvage mechanic to humanity's first contact specialist. But in the end, she was still doing what she'd always done, finding ways to make different pieces work together, even when everyone else said it was impossible. The sun was high in the sky when the framework for Earth's first interstellar treaties began to take shape. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. And if there was one thing Sarah had learned from a lifetime of fixing machines, it was that sometimes the most unlikely combinations produced the best results. 3 months after first contact, Sarah stood in a newly constructed facility beneath the New Mexico desert, surrounded by a sight few humans had ever witnessed. Representatives from each alien faction worked alongside Earth's engineers, studying the hybrid technology she created. What had started as desperate improvisation had evolved into something unprecedented, a true merger of human innovation and alien advancement. Probability calculations still cannot fully account for human methods. Success commented, now permanently installed as the facility's primary analysis system. Your species continues to defy statistical models. That's because we don't just think outside the box, Sarah replied, reviewing diagnostics on her tablet. We take the box apart and build something new with the pieces. The facility buzzed with activity. Arcturian engineers studied her electromagnetic dampening system, baffled by how primitive components could achieve results their advanced technology couldn't replicate. Proximan scientists debated the implications of her hybrid communication network. Even the consensus observers, usually aloof, showed keen interest in how human improvisation could enhance their ancient systems. Perimeter alert. Stryker announced suddenly. Unknown signature detected. Pattern matches no known faction. Security systems activated automatically, but Sarah raised her hand. Hold response. Success. Analyzing. Probability matrices suggest. Interesting. This is an opportunity, not a threat. The unknown ship descended openly, making no attempt to conceal itself. Its design was unlike anything from the known factions. Organic curves mixed with crystalline structures in ways that shouldn't have been possible. As it landed in the designated area, Sarah noticed something odd about its surface. It seemed to be adapting, shifting slightly to match Earth's atmosphere and gravity. New contact approaching. Stryker reported. Biosignature. Complex. Possibly collective consciousness. The ship's outer layer rippled, and a figure emerged, or rather, flowed, from its surface. It moved like liquid mercury, but held a humanoid shape, its surface reflecting the desert sunlight in rainbow patterns. "We are the adapters," it announced, its voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "We have observed your recent activities with great interest." Sarah stepped forward, flanked by Stryker and a holographic projection of success. "Welcome to Earth. I'm Sarah Chen." "We know." The figure's surface shifted, displaying fragments of images. Sarah's modifications to alien tech, her diplomatic interventions, the hybrid defense network she'd created. "Your methods intrigue us. We are a species dedicated to evolution and adaptation, yet you have achieved something we thought impossible." "Which is?" "True synthesis. Not merely combining technologies, but creating new principles from the merger of disparate systems. We believed our ability to physically adapt was the pinnacle of evolution. You have shown us that adaptation of thought, of perspective, is equally powerful." The alien representative stirred. The Arcturian ambassador stepped forward. "The adapters are legend. They appear only when significant galactic changes are imminent." "Indeed." The Mercury-like being flowed closer. "Humanity's emergence threatens the established order not through force or advanced technology, but through its ability to see possibilities where others see only limitations. This facility alone demonstrates principles that will revolutionize interstellar engineering." Sarah looked around at the hybrid systems she'd helped create. Elegant alien technology working in harmony with jury-rigged human solutions, each making the other more effective than it could be alone. "We're not advanced enough to join your galactic community," she said, "but we're too innovative to ignore." "Is that what you're saying?" "Precisely, which is why we propose an alternative." The adapter's surface rippled with complex patterns. "Earth should not be merely admitted to the existing order. It should help create a new one." The announcement sent shockwaves through the assembled representatives. Success's probability matrices fluctuated wildly. Stryker's sensors went into overdrive trying to process the implications. "A new order?" the consensus observer asked. "Explain." "The old divisions, hegemony, collective, consensus, they are based on levels of technological advancement. But humanity has demonstrated that true progress comes not from technology alone, but from the ability to see it differently, to adapt it, to improve it in ways its creators never imagined." The adapter gestured, and its ship projected a hologram of the galaxy. "We propose a new coalition, with Earth as a founding member, not based on power or advancement, but on the ability to innovate, to adapt, to find new solutions to ancient problems." Sarah studied the being carefully. "And what makes you think we're ready for that kind of responsibility?" "Because in 3 months, you took technologies that have existed for millennia, and found ways to use them that no other species conceived. Because when faced with superior forces, you didn't try to match their power. You changed the rules of engagement entirely. And because even now, your mind is probably finding flaws in our proposal and thinking of ways to improve it." Sarah couldn't help but smile. The adapter wasn't wrong. "There will be resistance," the Arcturian ambassador warned. Many will not accept such a dramatic change in the galactic order. Good thing we humans have lots of practice dealing with resistance, Sarah replied. She turned to success. Run the numbers. What are our chances? Calculating multiple factors. Conventional probability suggests 12.4% chance of success. Success paused. However, factoring in observed human tendency to defy probability, revised estimation indicates significant potential for positive outcome. Those odds are good enough for me. Sarah faced the assembled representatives. Earth accepts your proposal, with one condition. We do this our way. No more hiding technology, no more secret observations. We work together, combine our strengths, and figure out how to make things better for everyone. The adapter's surface rippled with what might have been amusement. That is precisely why we chose this moment to appear. As the implications of this new arrangement were discussed, Sarah walked to the facility's observation window. The New Mexico desert stretched out before her, unchanged on the surface, but now home to humanity's first true steps into a larger universe. In the end, it hadn't been superior firepower or advanced technology that earned Earth its place among the stars. It had been the simple, human ability to look at the impossible and say, "Let's try it anyway." Stryker rolled up beside her. Your heart rate indicates emotional response. Are you experiencing concern? No, Sarah said, watching the sun set over a world that would never be quite the same. I'm experiencing hope. The universe just got a lot bigger, and we've got a lot of work to do. Indeed, success added. Probability suggests the next few years will be interesting. Sarah laughed. Interesting. That's one way to put it. She turned back to the assembled representatives of multiple worlds, already pulling up schematics on her tablet. Now, who wants to help me figure out how to improve faster than light travel using some old racing engine principles I've been thinking about? The universe, it seemed, would never be quite the same either.